Business analysts often face one common challenge. Stakeholders explain the problem in business language, but the BA must convert that discussion into clear requirements, workflows, user stories, and testable outcomes. In this case study, we will see how AI can help a BA handle that challenge using a realistic healthcare example: prior authorization automation. Prior authorization is a process where approval may be required before a patient receives certain healthcare services, treatments, medications, or procedures. The problem is that many organizations still manage this process manually. Requests may come from portals, fax, email, or phone. Staff must check eligibility, documents, rules, status, and approvals manually. This creates delays, confusion, repeated provider calls, and limited visibility for managers. Now imagine a stakeholder explains the issue in a meeting. They say requests are coming from multiple channels. Documents are often missing, eligibility must be checked, simple cases should move faster, complex cases need nurse review, and managers need dashboards. This information is useful, but it is not structured enough for development. This is where the BA work begins. A good BA does not immediately write requirements from messy notes. First, the BA identifies gaps. What request types need authorization? What documents are required? What makes a case simple or complex? Who can approve or deny? What status should providers see? What audit history is required? AI can help generate these questions quickly, but the BA must validate them with business users and SMEs. After analyzing the problem, the BA can define the proposed solution. The solution is not just use AI. The real solution is an automated prior authorization workflow. The system should capture requests from multiple channels, check eligibility, validate documents, route cases based on rules, support nurse review, send status updates, and provide dashboards and audit history. Before designing the future system, the BA must understand the current process. Today, requests are received manually. Staff review documents, check eligibility, follow up with providers, route complex cases, and update status manually. Because there is no single source of truth, providers keep calling for updates, and managers cannot easily see where work is stuck. Now we move from the current state to the future state. In the future workflow, the system creates one intake queue, validates eligibility, checks required documents, applies business rules, auto-approves simple cases, and routes complex cases to nurse reviewers. This gives providers status visibility and gives managers better control over pending, approved, denied, and aging requests. AI becomes useful when the BA uses it as an assistant, not as the decision maker. The BA can use AI to summarize stakeholder notes, identify missing information, draft requirements, create user stories, generate acceptance criteria, and prepare UAT scenarios. But the BA is still responsible for checking accuracy, confirming rules, and making sure the solution matches the real business process. Once the solution is clear, the BA organizes it into requirements. Business requirements explain why the organization needs the solution. Functional requirements explain what the system must do. Non-functional requirements explain performance, security, audit, usability, and reporting expectations. This structure helps development, QA, product, and business teams understand the scope clearly. Next, the BA defines business rules. For example, if eligibility is inactive, the case should go to an exception queue. If documents are missing, the provider should be notified. If the case meets auto-approval criteria, the system should approve it. If the request is complex, it should go to a nurse reviewer. These rules turn vague business language into clear system behavior. After requirements and rules are defined, the BA converts them into an agile backlog. This includes epics, features, and user stories. For example, a provider needs to submit a request online. An intake specialist needs to see missing information. A nurse reviewer needs a queue for complex cases. A manager needs dashboards to monitor performance. Now the development team has clear, buildable work items. User stories are not complete without acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria define exactly how the system should behave. For example, when a provider submits a complete request, the system should create the case successfully. When documents are missing, the system should mark the case as missing information and notify the provider. This makes the story testable and reduces misunderstanding. UAT confirms whether the solution actually solves the original business problem. The BA creates scenarios, such as complete request submission, missing documents, inactive eligibility, auto-approval, nurse review routing, and dashboard review. Each scenario should connect back to the business need, not just the system feature. Managers need visibility, so reporting requirements are important. The dashboard should show pending cases, approved cases, denied cases, missing information cases, and aging requests. These metrics help leadership find bottlenecks, measure turnaround time, and improve operations. Finally, the BA uses a traceability matrix to connect everything. Each business requirement should map to a functional requirement, user story, acceptance criteria, and UAT scenario. This ensures nothing is missed and every feature has a business reason. This case study shows how a BA can move from messy stakeholder notes to a complete solution. The process starts with understanding the problem, identifying gaps, defining the future workflow, writing requirements, creating user stories, building testable acceptance criteria, and validating everything through UAT. AI helps speed up the work, but the business analyst remains the owner of business logic, stakeholder communication, and final validation. That is the real value of combining business analysis with AI.